Val Emmons Show, where freedom is cool and political correctness is for sissies.
And that is me, Val Emmons. Welcome to the Val Emmons Show on this Monday, November 18th. And I'm going to talk about a lot of things today, and we're going to go really fast. So if you want to comment on anything, you can send me an email, valemmons@gmail.com. I always like to get that out there. Or you can post something on my Facebook page at www.facebook.com/Val Emmons. Or you can send me a tweet to Val Emmons. At Val Emmons. And any of the things that I usually talk about on the show are up on my Facebook page, and you can get in on the conversation because some of it is rather colorful and interesting and entertaining. I always find that I learn from debate, and I also love Facebook for that because I learn and get to see a lot of different point of views that I might not get to see just in the, Valerie world. All right, anyway, so I want to start out with the Nightmare on Health Street update. You can hashtag that, hashtag Nightmare on Health Street. I spell out street. Just throwing that out there. The Senate has decided it won't take up the Upton bill for a vote, and I didn't think they would, of course. Senate Democrats do not expect to vote on the Obamacare fix the House approved on Friday, with 39 Democrat votes, according to senior Democratic aides. The aides said that there is not any pressure on the Senate Democrat leadership to bring the legislation sponsored by Fred Upton, representative of Michigan, to the floor. There's a difference between constructive fixes designed to improve the law and bills that would gut it, said the senior Democratic aide. The Upton bill is the latter, as they're reporting this in thehill.com. Upton's bill would allow insurance companies to offer the less expensive limited plans that do not meet all of the more stringent requirements under Obamacare. Millions of people have been told their existing plans have been or will be canceled, and the GOP bill is meant to address that. Senator Mary Landrieu of Louisiana, Democrat of course, has sponsored rival legislation that would require insurance companies to offer the old plans. She has panned Upton's proposal. The House bill guts and undercuts and drives a Mack truck through the Affordable Care Act by not only allowing people that had policies to keep them, but allowing new people to sign on to those policies, she said. Their whole purpose is to undermine and throw the markets out of whack and make the Affordable Care Act not work. Landrieu's bill would mandate that insurance companies allow people to keep their plans if they prefer them to the options available through the government exchanges. It would also require insurance companies to send notice to people who keep their plans, informing them of the ways it does not meet the standards of the Affordable Care Act. Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid has not yet commented or committed to putting Landrieu's bill on the floor. Some Democrats argue a legislative fix is not necessary. There is no need for a legislative fix for this issue. Senate Democrat Whip Dick Durbin of Illinois said in a statement earlier this week. He said Congress should work with the administration to improve the implementation of the law and publicize its benefits to people without insurance. Now let's go back, and I want to read that part about Senator Landrieu's bill. It would mandate that insurance companies allow people to keep their plans. Okay? They have to let them keep their plans. That's a little bit over the mark, don't you think? Now you're going to mandate what companies do and can't do? And you're going to mandate what people have to buy and what what isn't sufficient for them to buy? How much further are we going to go with this, okay? And back up on the fact that when she says the whole purpose is to undermine and throw the markets out of whack and make the Affordable Care Act not work. No, lady, I don't think so. That is not the whole purpose. The purpose of fixing this is so that people aren't paying triple the amount they were paying so they can actually feed their damn kids dinner. What part of that don't you people get? This bill is not working for the vast majority of American people. Now, 15 million more people don't have insurance. And if they do, they're paying triple for it. For things that they don't need, like birth control for men. Or delivery of a child that a man might have. Because you want to cover all these things for women. You know, my 75-year-old grandma, if she was still alive, she wouldn't need birth control. But I have to cover to pay for it anyway because she has to have that in a plan. to cover everyone's free birth control. And I hope that the people that vied and pushed for the free birth control, which you can get free at any county health unit, I hope that you're happy with this. And I hope to God that your insurance went up as everyone else's did. As long as you get your free birth control. You sold your soul out for free birth control. What a bunch of morons this country's become. And I'm really sick of it. I don't mean to get worked up and my blood pressure's going up. My head's going to explode here in a minute. So anyway, on the same topic, Nightmare on Health Street. It's disturbing that over the weekend, on Sunday, Senator Kirsten-Gillibrand made statements that allude to the fact that the Senate knew this would be the case in terms of higher premiums and not being able to keep your coverage. And they knew that Obama was lying to the American people when he made his, quote, misstatement. I would like to play this interview with her. She was on This Week because I think it's rather telling, and I think it's really quite scary that none of the Democrats spoke out against this, nor did they bother to correct him on this very issue when he said that you'll be able to keep your insurance coverage that you currently have. None of them stepped up. If they knew about it, they did not step up to the plate. So I want to play this interview. It's loading up here in just a second. Once we get through the commercials. Sorry about that. I forget that there's commercials on these videos. I had it queued up and actually had to delete it off of my bar. I don't know how that happened. But anyway, I'm sorry about that. But I get so irritated because if we don't do something about it, you're going to, when you hear her say this and everything that this woman says, these are the people that Democrats are looking up to. These are the people that Democrats think are in it for them.
New York Democratic Senator Kirsten-Gillibrand joins us. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm going to ask you the same question. Can President Obama regain the trust of the American people?
Of course he can. Because, Martha, what this is about is everyday people needing access to affordable health care. They don't want their coverage dropped because of a pre-existing condition or when they get sick. They want their kids covered up to 26, and they want to have preventive care covered. And that's what this bill does. So once we get over this implementation issue, we will
implementation issue. That's all she says. And Martha Raddatz, I think she did a really good, unbiased job right here. So let's keep listening.
They can fix this. This is a fixable problem. So once they fix it, people will see I have an opportunity to cover my family. And Martha,
But you already had an opportunity to cover your family, and then it got canceled. And now the insurance company says that you can't reinstate it. Let's go on.
In the emergency room just last week with my son who had an asthma attack and took too many puffs on his puffer. And I looked in the eyes of all the other mothers in the emergency room. These are mothers who don't have health care,
How does she know they don't have health care? And I think maybe she's taken one too many puffs on her puffer. How does she know these mothers don't have health care? If you're in the emergency room 9 times out of 10, it's because you couldn't get in to see a doctor. And you have to wait 2 weeks to get an appointment. Do you think that's going to be better when everyone is on Obamacare? No, your wait is going to be longer. I was supposed to get into the doctor last week. Okay. I actually got in, but 3 days after I was already deathly sick and I was going to have to go to the emergency room. I waited it out because I didn't want that $700 bill, but I've had insurance and I was going to go sit in the emergency room. And I've sat in the emergency room with my kid before because things happen on the fly and you can't get an appointment right when you need it. Because most people don't call the doctor when they're not sick. Let's listen to some more.
This may be their only access.
Whose trust has been shattered.
No, but once that's just an implementation issue. Once you get beyond it, you then say, look,
and you think we'll get beyond it
we
by
will.
November 3rd.
You know what they'll see? Emergency room is covered. Do you know how much it is to go to an emergency room? You get a bill. It's very expensive.
Let me ask you this.
You get a bill, she says. Well, you know what, lady? You also get a bill if anything they do in the emergency room isn't covered by your insurance. Get bills all the time. And there's also a copay with that insurance. So how many people that don't have money to go to a doctor's office and pay the $25 copay out of their pocket because they're paying this high monthly insurance premium that you're requiring and mandating they pay? How many more people do you think are going to visit the emergency room because they don't want to pay the deductible?
I want to go back to this implementation because we can't quite go forward yet. Did you feel misled by Obama?
He should have just been more specific, because the point is, if you're being offered a terrible health care plan that the minute you get sick, you're going to have to go into bankruptcy, those plans should never be offered.
So were you misled?
He should have just been specific. No, we all knew. The whole point of the plan is to cover things people need, like preventive care, birth control, pregnancy. How many women, the minute they get pregnant, might have risked their coverage? How many women paid more because of their gender, because they might get pregnant? Those are the reforms that we have to fix.
We're talking about leadership here and trust. What does this all say about President Obama's leadership these past few weeks? He fell on his sword, but he's missed that sword a couple of times.
Well, no one is more disappointed in the implementation issues than President Obama, and he has taken full responsibility for the mistakes and the lack of getting this system up and running when it was supposed to be up and running. But what this is about, Martha, are those mothers in the emergency room who don't have access to affordable health care. I can't tell you how frightening it is when your kid can't breathe. It is a horrible moment, and I looked at every mother, and I'm telling you, we have to fix health care in this country. So when you talk about President Obama's legacy, his legacy is going to be offering affordable health care for every...
Okay, it is no way, shape, or form affordable, nor is it freaking healthcare. And I'm so sick of these talking heads spouting out about this is affordable healthcare. It is not. It is jacked up, priced insurance. I don't even know if that makes any sense, but that's just what came to my head. It is expensive insurance. It is not affordable healthcare. And that's why it is a nightmare on Healthcare Street. And this woman just needs to be smacked because I just, listening to that, did you hear the part? Okay, if you didn't rewind this and go back and say, no, we all knew. We all knew that this was going to be more expensive because it has to be. It has to be in order to cover women's issues. I'm a woman. Do I think that all men need to be paying for me to have sex, to get contraceptives, to pay for me when I do get pregnant? No, I don't. I think it's an individual's responsibility. This is unbelievable. So, I'm just, like, again, I want to know how many, if you knew this when, at the time in 2009, when Obama was saying all of these things, how many of the Senate Democrats spoke out against his lies? Or made a correct statement to clarify? None of them. They just kept quiet as to pass the damn bill that insurance lobbyists wanted them to pass. And this is disgusting, and especially if we do not stand up and ask them why they did nothing to clarify what Obama was telling folks in order to pass this nightmare on Health Street legislation. But then there's this little list of folks. 27 Democratic senators who told the country, along with their constituents, that if you like your current insurance plan, then you can keep it. So now we have 27 confirmed liars in the Senate, as well as those on the White House. So President Obama has taken a lot of heat for promising that Americans liked the health coverage that they had before Obamacare, that they would be able to keep it under the new law. But the president wasn't the only Democrat in Washington who made the false promise. The Washington Examiner reports that Mitch McConnell has put together this list of 27 Democratic senators who pledged that Americans could keep their coverage under Obamacare. The list includes the entire Democratic leadership in the Senate, as well as Democrats facing tough re-election races in 2014, like Mary Landrieu and Kay Hagan. There is that list compiled by McConnell's office, so you can check that out on my Facebook page. Or you can go to the WashingtonExaminer.com and look for it as well. Also, somebody not on that list, Arkansas Senator mark-pryor, imagine that, was not on that list of the 27. However, when I look back at some of his promises, they're darn close to the promise of you can keep your health care, but way off the mark, and can be also considered a big fat lie. Mark-Pryor in 2009, in a December 24th press release, says, elements of this package will drive down costs for families, small businesses, and government. Protect and expand an individual's choice of doctors and insurance plans without any government interference. And assure affordable, reliable health care for every Arkansan. So, what happened there, Mark? What happened? Why don't y'all give Mark-Pryor a call and ask him, hey, you said that people could keep their plans. Will you step up and support the Upton bill that just passed the House? And see that Harry Reid, since you're such buddies, I mean, you can Google pictures all over the place with Harry Reid and mark-pryor. Yeah, they're real big buddies. And so I think you give him a call. Call him in Washington. Of course, they don't ever answer. There's the answer machine on there that says you can call this number if you need anything. And then they never answer either. It's another answering machine. Okay, I've got an NSA update for you now. I'm going to move on. Today, the SCOTUS announced that it will not hear Epic's case against the NSA. The Supreme Court announced Monday morning, that's today, that it would not be considered at this time a complaint filed months earlier that challenged the legality of the National Security Agency's Dragnet telephone surveillance program. The High Court issued a notice early Monday without comment acknowledging that it would not be weighing in on a matter introduced this past June by a privacy watchdog group after the NSA leaker Edward Snowden revealed evidence showing that the United States Intelligence Agency was collecting metadata pertaining to the phone calls of millions of American customers of the telecommunications company Verizon on a regular basis. RT reports that the disclosure, the first of many NSA documents leaked by Mr. Snowden, prompted the Washington, D.C.-based Electronic Privacy Information Center, or EPIC, to ask the Supreme Court to consider taking action that would end the collection of phone records on a major scale. When EPIC filed their petition in June, they wrote, "We believe that the NSA's collection of domestic communication contravenes the First and Fourth Amendments to the United States Constitution and violates several federal privacy laws, including the Privacy Act of 1974 and the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act of 1978 as amended. We ask the NSA to immediately suspend collection of solely domestic communication pending the competition of public rulemaking as required by law. We intend to renew our request each week until we receive your response," EPIC said. 5 months later, though, the Supreme Court said this week that it will not be hearing EPIC's plea. A document began circulating early Monday in which the High Court listed the petition filed by the privacy advocate as denied. With other cases still pending, however, alternate routes may eventually lead to reform of the NSA's habits on some level. Lower courts are still in the midst of deciding what action they will take with regards to similar lawsuits filed by those such as Larry Klayman. He filed a separate suit, a civil lawsuit in various U.S. district courts challenging the NSA's program. All of these are which pending. Sidney Cohen, a legal director for the EFF, told the Washington Post only weeks after the first Snowden leak appeared that the disclosures had been a tremendous boon to other matters being litigated, and pointed to no fewer than 5 previously filed complaints challenging various government-led surveillance programs. Now that the secret surveillance program has been disclosed, and now that congressional leaders and legal scholars agree it is unlawful, we have a chance for the Supreme Court to weigh in, EPIC lead counsel Alan Butler told The Verge on Monday. You know what I think, though? I think if the Supreme Court won't weigh in on this, and who else will? If they won't weigh in and say it's unconstitutional, who else will? Because obviously we've seen that the House and Senate aren't going to do anything. Al Franken's working on something, and that's pretty sad because he's a Democrat. I would like to see someone step up and work on this bill, okay? Because this is not constitutional. And it is not thought, I mean, when I'm on the phone, I think, maybe someone's out there listening, but I pretty much think it's private, not anymore. A reasonable amount of privacy, though. And Maryland, Smith versus Maryland states that basically if telephone calls aren't private. Okay, but what about emails? And what about my metadata, where I'm at, what I'm doing? That is private to me. And if the SCOTUS doesn't step up and do something about it, what is this country going to become? Are you kidding me? 1984? I mean, it has just gotten out of control, people. Stand up and do something. Call your senators, call your congressmen. Tell them they need to work on a bill to take care of this problem and stop passing bills that give the NSA the same exact power. So I want to move on because I just get so frustrated with this stuff. Every day I look at it and there's something new. Don't forget, Friday's Ignorant Comment of the Week. If you have any nominees for the Ignorant Comment of the Week, please send them to me at valemmons@gmail.com or post to my Facebook page, www.facebook.com/Val Emmons, or you can send me a tweet to @ValEmmons, and I will give you a shout out if your moron is chosen as most ignorant for this week. Don't forget, last week was Oprah. You can look at Friday's show on the November 15th to find out why. So I wanted to give you guys, I want to talk about food stamps. I want to give you opportunity. I was looking over some things, and it seems that I come across California's CalFresh. That's what the EBT is called in California. According to San Francisco HSA, CalFresh benefits are distributed via the electronic benefits transfer debit cards known as the Golden State Advantage card. The EBT card is like any other debit card, as you know, and it offers users privacy when making purchases. CalFresh EBT cards can be used to purchase food at most San Francisco grocery stores, farmers markets, and in addition, elderly, disabled, or homeless CalFresh customers may purchase meals at various San Francisco restaurants that are authorized USD FNS participating restaurant meals program. You have got to look at this program. It's on my Facebook page. I posted it. There's places like New Supremo Pizza. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. About 12 pizza places, barbecue places, seafood places, Carl's Jr., Domino's, Burger King, Pizza Hut, KFC, Taco Bell, Subway, which probably Subway is about the healthiest one on there. None of these foods are healthy. And so you mean to tell me that you can take my food stamp money and go and blow it on a local restaurant while I'm cooking dinner for my kids every night because I can't afford to go out all the time because I'm paying for your crap? This is just unfreaking believable, people. Unbelievable. I am so sick and tired of paying for other people's wants because they're too busy paying for their needs. And there is not another country in the world where you cannot pull yourself together other than the United States. The United States allows for people to get back up on their feet. I've been down twice, maybe 3 times, and I have always got back up on my feet because that is who I am. And do you know that on several occasions, I was not given any help, and I lost everything I had. My children had to go live with their dad because I lost my job twice. I was a loan officer, there you go, back in the bubble burst. I never did anything. I could sleep at night with the loans that I did because I didn't put people on crappy ARM loans. I refused those when they sent them to me. And the brokers that I worked with can attest to that because I used to get aggravated at them. So I can sleep at night knowing that I was not the cause of that. But, when I was down on my luck, no one wanted to help me. I was in a catch-22. I had a very expensive car payment, very expensive apartment. But I lived within my means. Those were my means. I worked hard for my money, day in, day out. I was a single mom, taking care of my 2 kids. I couldn't get help from anyone. I was stuck in an apartment. Yes, I got unemployment, but it didn't cover everything. I was stuck in an apartment. Can't move if you don't have a job. I was stuck in a car. Can't get another car if you don't have a job. And if I gave up my car, how am I going to get to find a job? I was stuck. My kids had to go live with their dad. I went and lived in an office, people. I lived in an office. I got back up on my feet again. And there is no reason absolutely whatsoever that you cannot do the same thing in this country if you try hard enough. Ask people for help. Find someone that you look up to. Find someone that you want to know how they're doing and ask them how they get there. If you're someone that is in a position that you can mentor someone, if you know someone's down on their luck, mentor them. Help them get out. I'm not saying monetarily. Help them, guide them, teach them what they need to do. That is what we need in this country, people, not more handouts. We need more people to step up. You know what? I would rather give my time to someone and show them how to step up than to feed them. Isn't that, do you think that's, Democrats will take that and twist it around? But that's not what I'm saying, because if I teach them, you know how the old adage goes, give a man a fish, he'll be back the next day. I mean, this is not word for word because I don't have that rolled up in front of me. But teach him to fish and you'll never see him again. That's exactly how it works. If I teach someone how to rebuild their life and to keep it going, then they won't need handouts, and nor will they want one, because they will be on a route. And that is the problem in this country. Today, we're putting kids out, this Common Core crap. We're putting them out, trying to make everyone a rocket scientist or a mathematician, when that is not what this country is about. And not everyone is going to be that. And it's okay. Okay? But you cannot turn out kids that become tax takers instead of taxpayers. And that's what this country's doing with the school system that we've got going on right now. We're teaching kids what we want them to be. And that is not half the time what they're interested in, what they're going to be. And then they leave school with no skill, and they become a ward of the government, you know. They get on food stamps, HUD, because that's what their family's done. And that's what their family's teaching them to do. And I think that's absolutely wrong. And another thing that I think about food stamps and welfare is it should be treated like credit. And I've said this before. If you borrow so much money, you should have to repay it back. You know, what, $300 a month, I have to work for that. I have to work at an hourly pace to receive that much money a month. And so should someone else taking my money from the government. It's not the government's money. It's taxpayer dollars. And you should have to earn it. It shouldn't be a handout. If so, you should be lining up to get your rice, your beans, your cheese, and your peanut butter, and your honey at the commodities line. Because if you want something free, that's what you should get. But if you want to work hard for it and you want to learn skills, you should have to volunteer for those things. And then somebody will throw back that old, what if they're already working 2 jobs? Well, then you should have to pay it back later when you get back up on your feet. Because SNAP is, supplemental nutritional assistance program, but it used to be temporary assistance for needy families. Okay? So those two things right there, people forget to fail to look at that. Temporary means you're not living off welfare. You're not living off food stamps. And supplemental means it shouldn't be paying all of your grocery bills. It should make up a portion of your grocery bills, and you should pay the rest. But what I'm really sick of is when, PS4 came out last week. I want to know how many of these people on food stamps went out and bought a PS4. And if you know someone that has a PS4 that's on food stamps, please send me an email. Val Emmons. You can be private. I won't mention names. But I would like to know, because I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I see people in front of me paying for food stamps and buying PlayStation 3 games, so I know that this happens. And, I've had landlords tell me that they're getting paid by the government for the Section 8 housing, etc. And they go and check these people's houses, and they've got PlayStations, flat screen TVs, but yet we're paying for their rent. And I think it's absolutely out of control, and it's only out of control because we allow it to be. Okay? These things keep getting out of control because we allow them to go on. If we don't put a stop to it, it's going to consume this country, not just in monetarily, but in productivity and mindset. As you can see, it's already happening. People think that they are entitled to it. There was a time when I had to get food stamps. When I was going through college, I was working 2 jobs, and I had 2 young children I was trying to raise, and I was going to college. Okay? I got food stamps, but I bought macaroni and cheese. Hot dogs. Stuff for my kids. I didn't go buy bags of lobsters, and I didn't go buy steaks. But I would never, in my wildest dreams, have went on the internet and posted that my EBT card was down and that my EBT card didn't work. Because I had integrity. I was embarrassed. No longer are people embarrassed to be on food stamps or the government assistance. They feel like they owed it. Is this reparations? I'm just putting that out there. I think that when we become this taker society, we're in big trouble because you can only take so much of people's money before it runs out. Sort of what Margaret Thatcher said. It's not word for word, but you know the gist of it. I have to put it in the layman's terms for people because people obviously don't understand it. Anyway, that's about all I have for tomorrow. Go check out my Facebook page, www.facebook.com/Val Emmons for these stories and more. You can send me a tweet at Val Emmons at Gmail. I'm sorry, that is my Gmail address, Val Emmons at Gmail address. If you want, I would love, if you know someone or if you've seen someone buying the PlayStation 4 with food stamps. You can't buy it with food stamps, but you know what I mean. Buying it with a benefits card, buying their groceries separate or something of that nature. Or if you know somebody that has one, send it to me. You can tweet it to me. You can Facebook me. Anyway, that's all I got for today. So we will talk to you again tomorrow. Have a great night.